I mean, in a sentence, health is more than the physical because you are more than the physical. So if you were just very one-dimensional, and if humanity as a whole was very one-dimensional, maybe I could buy it. But there's a reason when people come home very stressed from work.
Yes, thank you so much for tuning in to the Holo Hlth Podcast, where we help you become truly healthy by sifting through the cultural lie that health is merely physical and uncovering what it looks like to be truly healthy in every area of our lives, physically, mentally, emotionally, relationally, and spiritually. I'm your host, Alex, and on today's conversation, we have my friend Lindsay Tobias with Keep Your Plants On. This conversation was absolutely extraordinary, where Lindsay starts to uncover the essence of what Keep Your Plants On is all about. She helps you stop dieting and start nourishing your body sustainably. If this is your first time to the podcast, thank you so much for tuning in. We provide you weekly free resources like what you're about to hear to help you start in an endeavor to help you become truly healthy. So if this is something that you are interested in, go to holohlth.com, subscribe on our email list, and we will send you weekly free resources like the following. It may be an article, podcast, video, newsletter, or something else, but we will equip you and help you by providing free weekly resources. No spam, no ads, no gimmicks, all for free. So go to holohlth.com, subscribe, and we will see you there. So without further ado, here is my personal conversation with Lindsay Tobias. Well, everybody, thank you so much for tuning into the Holo Hlth Podcast today. I'm super excited for this one because we have the infamous and notorious Keep Your Plants On, Lindsay Tobias. Lindsay, how are you doing?
I'm good. I really resonate with that notorious word more so than the infamous one. I like both, though.
I mean, there have been hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people requesting this episode. Just keep your plants on, keep your plants on. So I finally had to give the people what they want. So Lindsay, thank you for the one or two people who may have never heard of you, Lindsay. Can you quickly give us maybe like a 30-second like snapshot of your life and what do you do?
Yes, my name is Lindsay. I am a holistic health coach. I live in the Sunshine State with my 2 golden retrievers and my golden husband, and I'm very passionate about helping women stop dieting and start nourishing their bodies sustainably.
And this is not the first conversation we have had. We actually have known each other for quite a while. Lindsay, how do we personally know each other?
So Alex and Hannah actually introduced my husband and I, and we've been best friends ever since. When we lived in the city, it was almost anarchy, and Hannah and I would scheme on how to get our husbands to spend more time with us and not with each other. So there's more balance now that we live separately, but we miss you guys tons.
I think you said that very beautifully because yes, there's a lot of bromance going on there and still is, but thankfully we have gotten to a much healthier spot. But that's besides the point. Lindsay, the reason we are having this conversation today is because you are one of the people that I truly believe that is really pioneering the way when it comes to not just nutrition, but that nutrition is so much more than just physical. And you have a personal journey and you have a personal business called Keep Your Plants On that you have just found this to be true. So however long you want to, I would just love to hear kind of like the background and the story of all of this with Keep Your Plants On.
Yeah, so Keep Your Plants On started as just an Instagram account I wanted to create. I talked a little about this last time, but Alex personally did not like the name and let me know that he did not think it was very funny, as did a lot of other people in my life. But I had the opinion of my husband, who told me, hey, I think that's a good idea. And that was really all I needed. I started posting pictures of my food, and it really quickly became like a small little community where people would say, hey, I made this recipe, or hey, I tried this, or you encouraged me to do that. And it was so life-giving. I found so much purpose and fulfillment in that. And really at that time, my view of health was very one-dimensional, and I wasn't trying to coach anyone or help anyone. I just wanted to share fun recipes. Long story short, I went back to school, got that holistic word in front of my title. So I'm a holistic health coach, got another nutrition certification, wanted to learn everything I possibly could so that I could be as dynamic as I could in this industry. And I quickly found out that there was slightly a hole in this industry where I feel like nutritionists and registered dietitians were somehow missing the human element of health. And I used to think that I was very passionate about what I did, but in a recent book I'm reading by Ryan Holiday or Matt Holiday, I don't remember. In a recent book, Ego is the Enemy, he talks about how passionate people end up being a little bit more fanatic, actually. And I'm realizing that this isn't just a passion for me, this is a purpose. Almost like I simply have to share this message because it's so life-giving to people. And I didn't think that enough people were speaking about it.
So when you say this message, paint the picture. What is this message? Like, what are you telling people?
Yes. So my goal is to help people sift through the noise of diet culture and to create their own health rather than following someone else's. To teach people, like I said earlier, to stop dieting and start nourishing their body sustainably. In our culture today, people are dieting harder than they ever have, and we actually are experiencing more obesity than we ever have. And it's absolutely not a solution to our problems. And people are maintaining this all or nothing mentality in this cycle of restriction binge, and they're not addressing why they're doing what they're doing, the systems that they have in place, the environment around them, the social environment that they have around them, the place of food in their lives and the space that it takes up in their mind, their body image. I think that health is made up of a million factors, and I think it's a disservice to focus only on food.
So, Lindsay, I love that last line that you just said, that health is made up of a million factors, because that's kind of like the motivation and mission behind Holo Hlth, where we want to help people become truly healthy. We're, like you kind of talked about, culture really only says if you want to get healthy, then you need to live in the gym, go on a diet, and only focus on the physical, right? But as we are passionate and we are starting to uncover that there's so much more to health than merely the physical. We have our mental, our emotional, our relational, and even our spiritual. So, Lindsay, why do you, it may be just from a personal experience or just from your experience with clients, why do you believe, like, what is the power behind the belief that health is so much more than physical?
I mean, in a sentence, health is more than the physical because you are more than the physical. So if you were just very one-dimensional, and if humanity as a whole was very one-dimensional, maybe I could buy it. But there's a reason when people come home very stressed from work and they reach for food. Food has the ability, just like when you are a child and you're sucking your thumb, having that thumb in your mouth is literally a soothing mechanism. Being breastfed is a soothing mechanism. Throughout school, when you come home and you had a hard day, your parents give you ice cream, that's a soothing mechanism. And so when you start to restrict the thing that gave you the most comfort, people start to go crazy. And that's where that all or nothing mentality comes from, where people are like, I cannot keep ice cream in the house, I would eat it all. Well, then that honestly means that ice cream holds a deeper weight than just the food itself, because you're not hungry for all of it. So when we make food just about physical, I don't think that we're looking at the whole picture. In there's a quote that I really like by Ralph Waldo Emerson, and he says, "Every man is a quotation of his ancestors." And what I really love about that is just, in reality, we are just a compilation of every experience, every influence, every person, every reward that we've ever had. And because of that, there's a lot of factors that make up who we are and what we value. And when we align people to this diet that they don't understand, and two, like, it's not theirs, they're just following someone else's. And sustainability goes out the door. So I think it's really important for people to start to understand who they are, what they need in order to thrive, and then to be given the tools to be able to build that. And I think food, by the way, like, I'm talking only about the non-physical portion of food. Food is wildly important, and we're going to talk about that in a bit. And that's why the reason why what I do is built in food and in nutrition, because it's wildly important. Food is medicine. Food is information. I just do think that there's more to the story.
So Lindsay, from your experience and with the people that you have worked with, people are coming to you, whether with it's misinformation or a false belief or just some common struggles when it comes to all of this. What are some of those common struggles that people are coming to you with, whether they are consciously or subconsciously aware of, like, hey, I'm really struggling with the diet I'm following, or they're just like, I just need to lose weight, I don't know how, like, this is my struggle. What is most apparent to you, and what are you telling them? And like, what is your approach when it comes to the struggles that you come in contact with?
That's a great question, because one of the things that I love the most about what I get to do is the fact that I'm talking to people from all walks of life. And what I love to do with them is start where they are. Not aligning them to where they should be, or I don't care what the best diet is. The best diet is the one that you're going to follow, the one that you're going to align with. I think the most common issue I see with my clients is this sense of aimlessness in what they're doing. And it's funny because a lot of times an insecurity with our bodies is actually more closely correlated to an insecurity with our systems, an insecurity with our habits. We don't understand why we're doing what we're doing. And when we stop doing that, we get really insecure with the systems we have in our life. And what I mean by that is, like, you're insecure with the way you're eating, with the way you're moving, with the way that you're behaving around food, with the way that your mental space is going towards food. And as a result, you're going to be very insecure with your body, because your health is literally just a mirror of your habits. And it's funny because a lot of my clients will feel so good about themselves, and they're only like, their goal was to lose 20 pounds and they're only 3 pounds into it. I'm like, okay, this is amazing, but why do you feel like you're not experiencing all of the trauma that was going on in your head just 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago? And it's always like, well, I'm just really confident with what I'm doing. And then people, you can see that too with, after a big meal, when you eat a little bit too much, you feel really insecure with your body. When in reality, your body really didn't change very much from this point to about an hour ago, but you gained an insecurity with your systems. You gained an insecurity with your habit. And as a result, it's being manifested in an insecurity with your body.
I don't think that people are getting this just by themselves. I don't think anybody wakes up one day and is like, okay, like, I want to start being insecure or having a lack of confidence or eating this way. There has to be something infusing these beliefs and infusing our systems. And I truly believe that if we just follow the cultural undertow when it comes to health, we're never going to drift in a positive direction. But my question to you is, what are some specific things that culture is doing when it comes to misinformation regarding health?
Really quick, can I give you one more common struggle that I see with my clients?
Let me see if I can fit it into our schedule. Yes, you can.
I wanted to touch on one more thing, because I think that a lot of people can relate to this. One common struggle is that people think that their healthy diet is determined by their sense of discipline. And discipline actually plays a very small part in your healthy diet. And I think that an issue is we see, and this kind of answers your second question, so I'm not completely going against the script here, but when we label everything as a 30-day challenge or a detox or a cleanse, or we put in our head this idea of like, can I do it? Like, will I be able to do this challenge? And obviously in the back of our head, we are assimilating health with something that is not easy, health with a challenge, health with something that I have to do, not that I want to do or that I am. And when it comes to overeating, which really quick, you don't get fat by eating carbs. You don't get fat by eating fat. You don't get fat by eating animal products. You get overweight by eating too much food for your body. And there's a lot more that goes into it than that. However, I want to start with when it comes to overeating, which is probably the biggest thing that leads to obesity and being overweight or uncomfortable in your skin, we overeat. And then because we overeat, we restrict. And because we restrict, we overeat. And what's very interesting and something I wanted to point out with you right now, the precursor to binging, the precursor to overeating is 99% of the time restricting. When we restrict, there are literally hormones that fire. So it lowers your hormone that tells you I'm full and you are able to keep eating. And that's where this almost quick desire to overeat, it comes from. And then because we overeat, we restrict harder. And because we restricted harder, we overeat harder. And this cycle continues, and this cycle is toxic and it's debilitating and it makes people feel out of control. And in reality, that cycle is very easy to break. But solution to that cycle does not live in that cycle. It lives outside of it.
I appreciate this so much. We are out of time for this one, but we are actually going to see you on the next part on the Holo Hlth Podcast. So Lindsay, thank you so much, and we will see you on the next one. See you, Lindsay. Well, that concludes the first part of my conversation with Lindsay. If you don't want to miss the next part, go to holohealth.com, subscribe to our email list, and we will send you the next podcast conversation with Lindsay straight to your inbox for free. No spam, no ads, no gimmicks. We want to help you become truly healthy. So until then, have a good one.